ultimately making a generational impact because we want to pour into our kids good nutrition, not just good nutrition, but a habit of eating together, a habit of relating to one another. And that's what a meal does. A meal is an opportunity for all of us to face one another, break bread, and have a conversation. Hey there! So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about how the Mediterranean diet is a pattern and not a specific cuisine. It's about principles and not restriction. And I'm going to just do a little deep dive into a day in the life of what I did to handle a situation where I had meal plan issues with the schedule that I was currently in. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how the recipe in today's episode was a game changer for my kids, for me, for my family, how it really just ignited a lot of joy around the meal table. So let's dive in. Are you struggling to make healthy food choices and find time to exercise because of your jam-packed schedule? Welcome to Self-Care for Busy Moms. I'm your host, Susan. I too was overwhelmed with my kids and their schedules, striving to run things smoothly and ignoring the stress that was affecting my body. Thankfully, I found strategies to bring myself back to health with food, exercise, and most importantly, Christ. I can't wait to share them with you too. Snap on the step counter and don't forget the sunscreen. It's time to get started on your self-care. Hey friends, so for tomorrow, don't forget to go ahead and go onto Apple Podcast and write a review for this show, Self-Care for Busy Moms, and go ahead and take a screenshot of your review and email it to me at hello@susanro.com. Again, that's hello@susanro.com, or you could drop it in the Facebook group. The link will be in the show notes below. I am super excited for this first contest that I am running, and it is going to be for tomorrow until the 22nd midnight. So as long as you email me your screenshot, you are going to be entered into the contest within that time frame, and I will go ahead and email the winner on the 23rd. The prize is a free coaching call with me, so let's chat. Friend, I am currently in a busy season of sports right now as we speak, and this season of sports activities and other after-school activities really had me rethink a lot of what I was doing before this season started, because what was working before in the past is not working for me in my current season. I had to creatively think outside the box and figure out how to make this all work, as all busy moms do. Because here is what I know. From after school until the time of bed, I think that's about like a 5-hour spread. It could be more or it could be less, depending on what time your child goes to bed. That chunk of hours there in the late afternoon to early evening and maybe into some parts of the night hours, it is high stress because a lot of moms, especially the ones I know and myself included, we are running around from pickup. We're going to activities. We're going to after school things. We're going home to do like a drop off and pick up and change clothes and that type of thing. The time frame is short because we got to get back out again and face the traffic. And what if there's an accident? And what if there's a delay because of some traffic pattern? So, long story short, that time from after school until bedtime is jam-packed with all sorts of life going on. And I gotta tell you, it can be unpredictable. And I have found that in this season, within that chunk of time, I just don't have a lot of time to cook. So this is where I really had to rethink a lot of what I had been doing. In this really busy season, my goal is to have 2 home-cooked meals within the weekday. So far, I'm kind of hitting it. There are challenges because of the time available to us, and time is finite. So let me walk you through a small win that I personally experienced. And this was literally yesterday. So this is real time sharing. How this will look for you might be different, but I'm sharing what worked for me, at least with this particular day and this particular schedule, because it helps us to sometimes think outside the box of what we normally do. I have been using curbside pickup very, very frequently just because it has saved me at least 45 minutes to an hour of my time of having to go into the grocery store to pick things up and go through the checkout process. I knew what I needed to get for my family needs, so I had everything in the cart on my grocery store app by 10 a.m. and I was able to schedule it for an afternoon pickup, which coincided at the exact time I knew I would be driving by the grocery store on my way home, because I knew that we had just a small frame, maybe about an hour or so, of being able to come by home before we needed to go back out. So at 10 a.m., I went ahead and had everything in the cart and scheduled everything for a curbside pickup for 3:30 that same day. And the pickup fee was complimentary because I did it early in advance, which is one thing to note. If you want to do that and not have to pay additional fees, plan ahead. So at 3:30, I had already picked up my two boys and we were heading back home. And before heading back home, I sat and did a curbside pickup at 3:30. And by 4 p.m., we were home. And I had about an hour's time at home. So in that hour, might have been a little bit more than an hour, we had a crunch time of kids had to come home, drop their backpacks, change, have an after school snack, get their equipment. I was able to get a mac and cheese ready for their dinner that we can take to go. And since I had a little bit of time, I put a Korean beef into my slow cooker. The ingredients and actually the recipe will be in the show notes, so I'm not going to go into the details of the ingredients right now as I explain, but it will be in the show notes. So after having made the mac and cheese and having that ready for the kids to have on the way out for their dinner, I had a little bit of time to be able to prepare at least the ingredients that I can throw into a slow cooker. It was basically the sauce and the chuck roast cut up into 1 inch or 1.5 inch chunks. So in the sauce, you're gonna put in the beef broth, the tamari, which is soy sauce replacement, the honey, garlic, sesame oil, rice vinegar, ginger, gochujang, onion powder, pepper. You're putting all of that into a bowl, mixing it up. And then once you've had the beef chopped up into 1.5 inch chunks, you're going to put that into the slow cooker, then put the sauce ingredients over the meat ingredient, mix it up. And what I did was I also added in big chunks of cabbage as well as portobello mushroom cut in half. I tossed those into the slow cooker. If I had daikon radishes, I would definitely put those in next time because this dish is absolutely delicious with radish in it. I think it took me a total of 10 to 15 minutes to put all of that together because I had all the ingredients available from the curbside pickup. And I was able to put that together and we were able to go right on out. And by the time we came home, the home was filled with the smell of Korean barbecue beef smells, and it was done. I was actually going to pack it all up for the next day's meals, but when the boys came in, they smelled it and they just wanted to try a little sample, so they ended up having another quick meal and they absolutely loved it. My son raved about it and said, "Mom, we gotta have this again." So I have been so super encouraged. This recipe is kid approved. I know your family's going to super duper enjoy it. So this was easy for me to do and it was easy to incorporate this. And I love the slow cooker because there's a lot of give and take. You can just sort of let it go for 6 to 8 hours and not have to sit there and stir. Or even with the Instant Pot, sometimes I get nervous with having things being done way early and then it's just sitting there for hours on time. So I prefer, for me, I just feel more comfortable in my mind with a slow cooker. Even the vegetables that I had in the slow cooker were eaten up by my kids. Now, I went ahead and packed it up for today's meal. Today, it's going to be today's dinner and after school meal. Today, I actually had a bowl of the sauce because there was quite a bit of sauce. I always add a little bit extra sauce or beef broth in there because it's so good on everything. And I personally don't like to thicken it. I don't mind it being a little bit more soupy. But I had that sauce with a bowl of quinoa and rice and the vegetables in there, and it was so delicious. And it was a real quick meal for me that I didn't have to prepare something additional for myself. So this, I would say, is a winner of a recipe, and I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. But I did want to share this experience because this is what Mediterranean eating looks like in real life for my family. So going back to how this ties in with a Mediterranean diet, I have had episodes in the past talking about the Mediterranean diet and the principles of it. And the core principle is that it focuses on healthy fats. So you do not want to have trans fats or margarines, but you're looking at using olive oil or coconut oil, avocado oil, even tallow or grass-fed butter. Those would be examples of healthy fats that would be used in our cooking. Another emphasis in the Mediterranean diet is to really focus on quality proteins. So we're looking at like grass-fed, free-range, organic, whenever possible. The sweeteners would be focusing on natural sweeteners such as honey or dates. You're looking at whole grains and focusing on being less processed. The Mediterranean diet also has an emphasis on a wide variety of vegetables. So I think as long as you're incorporating a healthy amount of a variety of vegetables, that sort of qualifies as being a check for the Mediterranean diet. Overall, you're looking at ingredients that are less processed and you're purchasing ingredients as high quality as you are able to. So let's talk about how this works, no matter what type of cuisine you love. So I've mentioned this before. You want to focus on the pattern and not the cuisine. So as I gave examples in today's episode with what we just ate yesterday, I used a Korean beef meal and I made it Mediterranean diet friendly by not using granulated sugar. I switched up my sweeteners to be honey. I used olive oil and sesame oil in replacement to anything else like vegetable oil or canola oil. I focused on like quality protein and I added vegetables in it, but then also in addition to this, I will have vegetables on the side for the kids to eat. So even though this is a Korean meal, it actually follows a Mediterranean diet protocols. So if we have like a side of kimchi, that also works because there's great probiotics in there and it's a vegetable and it's very tasty. The key message is that you don't have to eat Mediterranean flavors to eat Mediterranean style. Every cuisine has their own vegetable base. For example, in Asian cuisine, there's a lot of green onions, mung bean sprouts, bok choy, or napa cabbage. You want plants to be a large portion of the plate, but you also want to make sure you have protein too. So this is not a vegetarian lifestyle. It's not vegan at all. You want to have a variety of vegetables, but also high quality protein as well. As I mentioned, healthy fats is very important, and the point is life happens and we're still going to eat out. But even when we eat out, we can make mindful choices. And even in a busy schedule, we can find ways to make home cooking happen, even if it's a little bit different and unconventional from the way we probably did it in another season. For example, before sports season started for me. Right now, in this season, I am embracing a lot more of the slow cooker cooking and trying to do a lot of the protein dishes in the slow cooker in advance, because I can always incorporate vegetables a little more faster, closer to the meal. But at least if the proteins are kind of established and prepared, that's one less thing to have to coordinate. It's easy to pair up protein with rice or with salad or with pasta. So that's been my strategy, to try to find ways to get my protein for my family prepared in advance, possibly in a slow cooker. And that sort of helped me put a meal together for my family. And so far, I have been able to do 2 meals a week within the weekday. That's my goal. Hopefully, we can move it up to 3, but we'll see. So the reason why this recipe that I'm sharing today works for the Mediterranean eating is that, first of all, there's quality protein with the beef chuck roast. It would be a bonus if it's a grass-fed beef. I focused on healthy fats with olive oil, and I used sesame oil more as a flavor enhancer for this dish. For my sweetener for this dish, I used honey instead of refined sugar, and you can reduce the amount as your family prefers it. And there were flavors from whole ingredients like minced garlic. I had fresh ginger in there. I also included gochujang and tamari, which is a gluten-free alternative for soy sauce. I used a less processed approach by not using a bottled marinade, and I used homemade sauce instead. And I personally did not choose to use cornstarch just because we enjoy more of a soupy consistency to our sauces. And I was very mindful for the ingredients that I used in my meal here for the Korean beef slow cooker meal. And going forward, you know what? I could pair this with steamed broccoli or bok choy. You can pair it with kimchi and rice, brown rice or cauliflower rice. You can use up any sort of vegetables that you have in the fridge, steam it up and have it as another side option with this, with a bowl of rice, a brown rice. So these are just different options that you could take. But the main point here is I'm sharing this as a small clip of a day in the life of a busy mom personally, and sharing what I did as a workaround to a busy season, how we were able to incorporate the foods that my kids enjoy in a way that worked with our schedule. So I really hope that you can find some encouragement that even with a busy schedule, if we can think creatively with the time that we have, we are able to put a meal together for our family and use whatever tools that you have. If you like the Instant Pot, go ahead and use that. Use any kitchen tool that would be able to help you get a meal together for your family, because it's so important for your children. It's so important for the family and for their memory. And it is ultimately making a generational impact, because we want to pour into our kids good nutrition, not just good nutrition, but a habit of eating together, a habit of relating to one another. And that's what a meal does. A meal is an opportunity for all of us to face one another, break bread, and have a conversation. And whether it's in the car or around a sofa or however that looks for your family, or around a picnic table, it is a blessing to the children to be able to have home-cooked meals a couple of times a week. That would be a blessing to them. In closing, you don't have to change your culture or favorite foods. You just need to adapt and alter whatever you enjoy to the Mediterranean diet way. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to focus on quality ingredients. You want to prioritize a variety of plants, focus on healthy fats, and be mindful about processing. Go less processed whenever possible. and check ingredient lists, especially for sauces and other additions that we use in our meals. I would like you to pick one swap this week. Maybe it's an old recipe that you have enjoyed making and now you want to spin it around and repurpose it and make it Mediterranean diet friendly. Go ahead and try to do that with one recipe. Or try making a homemade sauce instead of the bottled ones that you buy. What about adding one extra vegetable to a favorite dish of yours? You can make any meal Mediterranean. It's about the pattern, not the passport. God bless you, sister. Hey, Mama. Thank you for listening to the end. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you bless another mom who's looking for simple routines to feel healthy again? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcast. I'm always so encouraged to know that this podcast is helping you. Together, we can encourage one another for long-term strength and health because it matters to our families and for future generations to come. Just a reminder that I am not a substitute for medical advice. God bless you.